Okay, let's do this. MetalWorx by Zak Stanridge. Is it recording? I know. I need to go to ACX to see the file first. So MetalWorx Nation Z ASMR opening credits. So I could record the opening credits. Okay. It's not loading yet. Slow at the moment. Let me just drink my water. Okay, let's get on with it. I think I'm really soundy. Let me just take that off. That's why. Probably wear cotton because every time I rub them together, it's making a sound. Okay, let's do this. Six. I kept on forgetting. I kept on going to the manuscripts themselves. I still need to do the suggested credits and copyright information. Okay. MetalWorx Nation again. MetalWorx Nation Z ASMR revealed. Empty Standridges. Should I pronounce it as Standridges? Let's do that again. MetalWorx Nation Z ASMR revealed. Empty Standridges MetalWorx, written by Zak Stanridge, narrated by Vanessa Garcia. I'll edit that later. Let's continue reading. Chapter 1 The ASMR Fad. Tamara slid a drink over to the patron. Tamar, Tamara slid a drink over to the patron. The buzzed barfly replied, "Took you long enough?" She rolled her eyes. "That's my favorite customer." The drunk didn't catch the drunk didn't catch the sarcasm. "Then how come you never accept my friend requests?" Tamara smiled as she watched Eve minder into her watering hole. "Never said you were meander. It's meander." Oh, I'm this is what always happens every time I start to record. Like the first few chapters of it, or how I tend to mispronounce words, trip over my words during the first part, and then I get the hang of it, which is kind of weird because I've been recording since this morning. Another work though, but I don't understand. I need to be in the mood of it. I need to be doing it for a while. Then I get the groove. I get the hang of it. Anyway, chapter 1. The ASMR fad. Tamara slid a drink over to the patron. The buzzed barfly replied, "Took you long enough." She rolled her eyes. "That's my favorite customer." The drunk didn't catch the sarcasm. "Then how come you never accept my friend requests?" Tamara smiled as she watched Eve. Tamara smiled as she watched Eve meander into her watering hole. "Never said we were friends." A couple of others at the bar erupted into laughter. Tamara heard one of them shout, "Wicked burn!" as she strolled over to her pal. Tamara set a carrot juice on the booth table in front of Eve "On the house. Good to see you. What brings you here, kiddo?" Eve smiled. "Thanks." After taking a sip, she replied, I got tired of hanging out around the house, so I tried writing at the library. I was there until they closed, and I don't feel like heading home again. No worries. What are you No worries. What are you researching so hard? Eve Ill looked up. Have you heard of the ASMR fad? I wanted to try out some different types of mental health exercises, like meditation or therapy or sound immersion. Dr. Treen had suggested ASMR, and I simply can't believe how much information is out there. Tamara nodded. Well, now you know as a bartender, part of my job is to be a psychiatrist. Evil laughed. Tamara smiled and continued. I've tried it out, sure. I was impressed with what a powerful sensation that it invokes. It really does hit you out of nowhere. Honestly, I found it a bit too overwhelming and had to sort of try to turn it off. Eve Ill looked up with a mixture of confusion and intense curiosity. It was too powerful and you had to turn it off? That sounds so weird. Tamara agreed. It was. It really was the first time. If you've never experienced it, you should try it out. If you've never experienced it, you should try it out. But for me, it was incredibly powerful at first. Then the sensations I got from ASMR sort of tapered off. Eve ill hummed, considering. I wonder what it is exactly. I wonder what it is exactly. I can't seem to get a straight answer online. Tamara looked behind her briefly to her other customers. Hey, hon, I gotta get back. If you're looking for the scientific research or data on ASMR or whatever, why don't you call Dr. Steam? I'm sure she could spare a few minutes. She likes you. You really don't think I'm. You don't. You really don't think she'll mind? Tamara waved a hand dismissively. Kat is cool. She wants to help people. I'm sure she knows a lot about this ASMR trend people are flocking towards. Hit her up. Chapter 2, Introduction and Definition. Hi, Dr. Steam. Hi, Dr. Steam. The face of the therapist appeared on Eve Ill's laptop. Evil? Oh, hi. How are you doing? Eve Ill said, I'm doing some research on mental health like you suggested, dealing with depression and anxiety, etc. Can you spare 5 minutes for a quick chat? Good, sure, absolutely. I have a few minutes. Evil continued. Well, right before the library closed, I started learning about ASMR but didn't get very far. I randomly asked Tamara if she'd ever played around with it, but she said it kind of faded after a while, whatever that means. Dr. Stim looked behind Dr. Stim looked behind Evil. Are you at Tamara's, you goofy lady? Evil answered, not hungry enough to head to Stillwater, too broke for a movie. Dr. Steam laughed. Dr. Steam laughed. Understood. Well, give Tamara a hug for me, okay? ASMR. You probably know by now that it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. But those are just dry clinical words. But those are just dry clinical words. Right, yeah. Evil crossed her arms. It's kind of gibberish. Dr. Steam said, autonomous means that it is something your body just does automatically. You can control it to an extent, like breathing, but not really. Meridian refers to a part of the brain which responds automatically to certain sensory inputs. But honestly, Evil, I don't want you to get too hung up on the term ASMR because that will probably change as more research is conducted out. Okay. But honestly, Evil, I don't want you to get too hung up on the term ASMR because that will probably change as more research is conducted on the phenomenon. The acronym ASMR is actually an arbitrary term that was thrown together to sound scientific. It I think it's only called ASMR because I think it's only called ASMR because calling it the tingles. I think it's only called ASMR because calling it the tingles sounds a lot less sophisticated. If you'd like me to boil it down, if you'd like me to boil it down to a few bullet points, if you'd like me, if you'd like me to boil it down to a few bullet points, I would say you should understand the objective clinical data first. Okay, let's read that again. If you'd like me to boil it down to If you'd like me to boil it down to a few bullet points, I would say you should understand the objective clinical data first. Then you take into account the subjective sensory experiences. Lastly, you go over the pros and cons of ASMR to figure out to figure out Lastly, you go over the pros and cons of ASMR to figure out if it's something you want to include in your mental health routine. Oh, there's an airplane. And my recording area is not soundproof enough for this. Ooh, yeah. Okay. To whoever who'll be watching this, if you want me to see some leisure reading, I'm currently reading before the airplane's still hovering over there. I'm currently reading Tales from the Thousand and One Night on Reddit at the moment. So I'm reading it live every Monday and Thursday. So if ever you're interested, my Reddit name my Reddit name username is Stunning Blue 06. So I'm going to write it down here for just in case. Stunning Blue 06. So I go there. I read. Well, I just started reading it last Monday. Um, so Monday, Thursday, because I do other things like this one on the rest of the days. Um, yeah. So if you want to catch me some leisurely reading and not actually recording, you could catch me there. Okay, we're clear now. I think this is what's the next chapter? Chapter 3, objective data. But I think I need to re-record the last one because we'll see. I need to listen to it again later. Okay, chapter 3, objective data. As far as the science of ASMR goes, I'm sure you know that there are different types of evidence. Among this will primarily primarily discuss empirical evidence. Okay, wait. Among this, will primarily discuss empirical evidence and anecdotal evidence as they apply to the study of autonomous sensory meridian response. Evil type notes as she listened. Dr. Steam continued. You need to you need to know that there are you need to know that there has been no real rigorous scientific research done on ASMR, so what we know can be classified as objective data, but only minor empirical or anecdotal findings. Evil asks, what do all the findings point toward? Dr. Steam answered, empirically, there was a preliminary study once comprised of 475 participants aged 18 to 54. The most common reasons for ASMR mental health treatment were to alleviate a sour mood, to deal with anxiety, to reduce stress, or to help manage depression. It seems to start with personal attention. For the ASMR to be triggered, generally the participant has to be the center of the action. Whispers, gentle stroking, or slow movements, as well as laughter and crisp sounds can bring on a desired tingle sensation. Anecdotal reports of ASMR describe states of intense focus or of greater presence. The corresponding relation sensations are consistent with the non active aspects of meditation. So, in a way, ASMR is a kind of a cheat. It seems an easier method to diligent meditation for years to achieve the same goal. It seems an easier method than diligent meditation. It seems an easier method than diligent meditation for years to achieve the same goal. Typically, ASMR is triggered by sound, as previously mentioned, but there are minor numbers of users whom also find that light, but there are minor number of users whom also find that light, specifically blinking or strobing light, produces the desired effect. Obviously, this form wouldn't be appropriate to those whom suffer from epilepsy. Evil, evil finisher carrot juice then asks, this sensation and all of these effects, can absolutely anyone do this? Dr. Steam shook her head. No. Ultimately, what the data provided was the answer to a question: does ASMR benefit the participant? And the respondents gave an 80% positivity rate. We can interpret this data to mean that 8 out of we can interpret this data we can interpret this data to mean that 8 out of 10 people can do it, or that 8 out of 10 participants receive a beneficial effect. Chapter 4: Subjective Experiences. Eve L. asks, now that I know the basics of some of the studies and the dry scientific stuff, what are they actually feeling, experiencing? I haven't felt anything myself yet. Tamara mentioned that she had, faded. But that it faded. Dr. Steam nodded. Gotcha. Again, if you do end up experiencing a Gotcha. Again, if you do end up experiencing ASMR, it'll be your own personal, subjective sense of it. I can only tell you what it's like for me. It starts with a strange, calming feeling in the base of your neck. Next, there are tingles, like when you see an emotional scene in a film or a play, or you get Next, there are tingles, like when you see an emotional scene in a film or a play and you get chills. It's basically like that. For me, my scalp feels like it's pulsing and then my breathing slows. After some time in this state, I feel extremely relaxed. Of course, relaxed is just a word, but when I say relaxed, I mean relaxed, as in you don't want to do anything at all, but just lay there and smile. It will probably sound strange, but you start to pay attention to your body and it feels as if it's pulsing or glowing. I personally feel an intense pressure sensation at the bottom of my skull. This is an extremely powerful feeling and it feels great, but it can also become too intense to handle. I found myself trying to stop the sensation because it was overwhelming. Tamara mentioned that. Eve Ill remarked. Dr. Steam explained, it's called it's called ASMR burnout. This is also fairly common. When you first experience ASMR, it's exciting and new and fun. The problem is that you can only experience it so much before you desensitize yourself to it. Then, if you're dealing with depression or anxiety and you expect or depend on that sensation, but it isn't there, it can cause even more depression and anxiety. Evil noted this, the exact opposite of what you're trying to accomplish in the first place. Dr. Steam agreed, right? Like drinking too much water will deplete your body's vitamins and minerals. Too much ASMR could have adverse effects. Overexposure to anything is generally a bad thing. In the end, you want to try it out and think it could help with depression or chronic pain. You just have to look at the data and weigh the pros and cons for yourself. Pr- Chapter 5: Pros and Cons. ASMR can be used to treat depression and chronic pain when other methods have completely failed. That is probably the biggest benefit known to ASMR right now. Evil asks, Have you prescribed ASMR? Have you prescribed ASMR? Doctor's team considered and answered, well, no. ASMR is not ASMR is not something you can prescribe. I can't really prescribe online videos. However, I did have a patient wherein my therapy wasn't working and neither was a medical prescription. I was bas- I was basically at my wit's end with this individual. He almost couldn't function. Then one random day he told me that he'd been to a hairdresser. Suddenly sitting there and hearing her whisper and enjoying the personal attention, he became extremely relaxed and entered almost a trance like state. It was at this point where he felt absolute peace and relief from his depression and even chronic back pain. So there's something to be said for the evidentiary evidentiary evidentiary. How do you pronounce that? Evidentiary pronunciation. Evidentiary. This light is not good. Makes me look weird. Loud. I don't know. Evidentiary. Evidentiary. Okay, cool. Okay. So there's something to be said for the evidentiary. So there is something to be said for the evidentiary experience of people on the pro side of ASMR involvement. Evil jotted down a couple of key ideas for her article, then asks, and you have mentioned burnout of ASMR. That would be on the con side? Dr. Steam replied, yes, that's a big problem because while most times, if you just stop doing it for a while, you'll experience the sensations again after a break. However, there are those rare occurrences where someone watches and experiences so much that there is a complete shutdown. One day they wake up and can't experience it and won't ever experience it again. Evil interjected, that sucks. Indeed, as I alluded to before, that is something which could actually cause depression and anxiety, not treat it, like taking asthma medic like taking asthma, a- asthma. It's asthma, right? Asthma, asthma, asthma. Huh? It's not asthma, it's asthma. Asthma. Oh, interesting. Like taking asthma medication with the side effect of shortness of breath. Totally, totally pointless. But on the whole, Evil began, it's something worth looking into. Certainly, Dr. Steam said, there's typically more than one solution for mental health because there is typically more than one cause for a negative state. Group therapy is great, so is intensive psychotherapy, and sometimes medication is great. But sometimes those things don't work. As a mental health professional, it's my job to make sure that people are aware of all the options As a mental health professional, it's my job to make sure that people are aware of all the options available to them. As a mental health professional, it's my job to make sure that people are aware of all the options available to them. If used judiciously with a firm regimen in place alongside other methods, ASMR can be a valuable health ASMR can ASMR can be a valuable health ASMR can be a valuable mental health tool in dealing with depression, anxiety, and chronic pain. Number one, oh, I could put it here probably. One, comprehension questions. One, what does ASMR stand for? Two, who did Eve Ill know that had tried ASMR? Three, What is another common term for ASMR? A. The Pringles. B. The shingles. C. The tingles. D. The bangles. 4. ASMR scientific data exists in what available form? 4. ASMR scientific data exists in what available forms? A. Anecdotal and empirical. B. Ontological and numerical. C. Chemical and toxicological. D. Forensic and entomological. 5. Hmm. There's an airplane again. Anyway, I where's that book that I'm reading? I just want to show you that I'm reading. I'm reading loads of books. I'm reading this for Reddit as a practice as well. So I've read this before. It's really dated. I just have to warn everyone. It's really dated. There are like some things in it that okay, obviously it's been written back in the days. So it's a bit, I don't know, racist. Um, but this is the one that I'm reading for pleasure. An Ember in the Ashes. I've read this one already. I'm just rereading it again because I got the rest of the book. I got the rest of it. It's by Sabata here. There are four, there are four books, so I'm missing the last book of it. So I've read this, but I'm reading it again just to jumpstart so I can read the rest of one. So this is An Ember in the Ashes. The next one is A Torch Against the Night. The next one is A Reaper at the Gates. And then I think the other one is I can't remember, Sky in Storm or something. So yeah, that is my pleasure reading. Anyway, okay, let's do this. Where was I? And pause. 5. ASMR is not for everyone. A, true. B, false. 6. ASMR can't be used when other mental health methods fail. A, true. B, false. Oh, cool. I think that's it. Should I say the answer? I'll probably ask the right holder. I'll ask Zach for that one. Then the last one is this has been MetalWorks Nation Z. This has been MetalWorks Nation Z ASMR Revealed. Empty Stanridge's MetalWorks. Written by Zak Stanridge. Narrated by Vanessa Garcia. Copper, Copyright 2021 by Zak Stanridge. Production copyright by Zak Empty Stanridge. Oh, there. That is a good, like, less than 30 minutes, that one. So, thank you for listening to that one. And then hopefully I get to um you get to hear some more exciting works that I'll be doing in the future. Uh so yeah. And I think that's it. I just want to plug, I do read on Reddit Live. I think it was Arpan, Reddit Pan. They do a live that is, I believe, 8 to 11 o'clock every, well, London time, 8 to 11 o'clock in the evening. So I do that every Monday. I will be doing it every Monday and Thursday. I'll be just reading for 2 hours. Yeah, so I'll be reading from 8 to 10 o'clock. And then I'll definitely be reading some of the works that I've been doing here on YouTube. So yeah. So till next see you guys. I'll try to probably do a live earlier in the day. So this spotlight is not like on my face and not good on my skin. I don't know. Um, yeah. So till next time, I still need to edit this ones that I did, and I still need to send it to the rights holder. And I'll give an update next time whether it's been released on Audible. You'll find it on Audible hopefully soon, in less than a month probably. So see you again, guys. Bye.